Johnny Cueto was an all-star with Cincinnati. Then he took the role of World Series hero in Kansas City. And he was an all-star once again last season in San Francisco. Now the right-hander faces one of his former teams and looks to give the Giants a series split and a happy flight to Denver. Giants, Royals, and it's coming up next. Day baseball here at AT&T Park. Our fans love day baseball as we wrap up this short two-game series. Royals, Giants, welcome to NBC Sports Bay Area, powered by Xfinity. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Alongside me is Mike Krukow. Well, a win today, and they split the series. They also go 2-3 on the homestand. So I think that would be important before you get on a plane to Denver.
Well, you're right. I mean, getting your offense very excited about their abilities is essential when you're going into Coors Field. But I think there's even a bigger story that is surrounding today's ball game, and that is the story of Johnny Cueto. For a lot of this year, he's had to deal with blisters, and he's had this, he's had that. He's finally starting to feel very, very good about his body. He needs to give them a good chance to win, and that means early zeros. His opponent today, Jason Hamill, a sinker baller. He's a guy that works a fast pace, and I think that the pace that both these guys work will complement one another. Look for a very well-pitched, well-played ball game.
Giants have their A lineup in there today, trying to get a win before they head on the road. All right, stay tuned as we'll take you to our NBC Sports Bay Area studios for an update right after this.
Giants baseball on NBC Sports Bay Area. Area is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By State Farm. Combine auto and renters and see how much you can save. Talk to an agent today. And by the 2017 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 30 highway miles per gallon.
Fans driving down the famous Lombard Street in San Francisco on their way to AT Park to watch the Giants finish up their interleague play on this homestand as they get set for Game 2 against the Kansas City Royals. Welcome back to our broadcast, everyone. I'm Amy Gutierrez. Johnny Cueto on the hill for your Giants today, and he was traded at the trade deadline back in 2015 to the Kansas City Royals, and he did not pitch up to his potential in the regular season, but when it came to the postseason in the World Series, he stepped up his game big time. It's our Togo's big play the Togo's way as we look back on the biggest stage of them all. Cueto pitched a complete game, two-hitter, giving up 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts on 122 pitches. It was the first complete game by a Royals pitcher in the postseason since Brett Saberhagen in Game 7 of the 1985 World Series. And what a moment for him. He gets to go up against his former team today for the very first time. He's made it very clear, though, that today they're opponents, not friends. All right, Johnny Cueto on the hill. The final game of this interleague series with the Kansas City Royals will have lineups, first pitch, Crook and Kipe, all coming your way. Stay with us.
Look at the Cove. Very quiet in the Cove. Our game time weather is presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. On a day like today, after the game, get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open daily. 68 degrees here at the yard. You see the winds are light, humidity at 45%, and it is a sunny day. We're waiting on Johnny Cueto to lead the Giants out of the dugout. Let's take a look at the Royals lineup, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It'll go like this. It'll be Merrifield, Bonifacio, and then Lorenzo Cain. Eric Hosmer will be the cleanup hitter. Mike Moustakas has been hot over the last 10 games. He's a big fella. Escobar, Gordon, and Drew Butera, and then pitching and batting ninth is Jason Hamill.
Absolute gorgeous day for baseball. And the ballpark's going to play a little small today because there's not the normal winds, at least not for now. It may pick up wind-wise a little later on, but right now there's carry to all field. The Giants did not take batting practice. The Kansas City Royals did, and the ball was jumping out of here. So early on, this is going to be a live yard that favors the hitter, and we don't often say that. And right now it is time for our smart play. It is brought to you by your California Ford dealers. And Johnny Cueto was presented with his Royals 2015 World Series ring before a game in Arizona. Ring that he wore with great pride, and it was a big part of the success story that was the Kansas City Royals in 2015. And they are beautiful rings. They really did a great job in the design of that ring. It is indeed Johnny Cueto that will lead the Giants out on the field today. He is the starting pitcher. Cueto in his 10th year at the big league level. A day that's absolutely perfect for baseball. Let's take a look at the numbers of Johnny Cueto making his 14th start. He's 5-5 with a 4.33 ERA. Had a few blister problems, and through it all, he's gone out every time and given the Giants a chance to win. He'll try and do that very thing today, averaging a strikeout an inning. When you take your bats against Cueto, you're going to see a fastball that can go anywhere from 90 to 97 miles per hour, depending on the grip and the situation, the count. He likes a lot of hard stuff, so about 72% of the time you're going to see fastballs and cutters. But that doesn't mean he won't throw the other stuff. He'll throw the changeup, the slider, the curveball, and he'll throw anything at any time from a variety of different deliveries. Lifetime against the Kansas City Royals, Cueto 1-2 in 3 starts with a 3.79 ERA. And let's take a look at the defense behind Cueto today, starting in the Giants outfield from left to right. It'll be Slater, Span, and Pence. Crawford Nunez will be on the left side of the infield, Panic and Bell on the right side. And Buster Posey, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs. 3 Gold Glovers on the field today, Posey, Panic, and Crawford.
So here's Merrifield to lead things off. Merrifield had a couple of hits and 3 RBIs in the game last night. And the first pitch of the ball game is on its way, and it's a pop-up. And it's Hunter Pence calling everybody off, and that's how this game gets started, on a pop-up to right field. The getaway day swing at first pitch attack.
Well, indeed, and they've got a pretty good strike zone today too for getaway day. You always like to have an umpire who has a strike zone that's a little big, and that is the case with Jeff Kellogg. Plate umpire, good low ball umpire.
See the rest of the umpires. It's Little, Fagan, and Timmons from first to third. Here's Bonifacio, who takes a call strike. Bonifacio hitting .262, had a nice game yesterday, had 3 RBIs, and he takes a pitch in tight. Merrifield and Bonifacio are the only 2 hitters in this lineup for Kansas City that have never faced Johnny Cueto, and that's pulled on the ground foul.
Our ball dude down there, Patrick O'Rourke, had a chance. 0 for 1.
Took a bad hop, plus the glove needs a little breaking in.
Well, there are certain mitts that are best served to be put on a shelf someplace and respected, because if you're trying to make a play with that rag, good luck. That's our Expo. It's brought to you by your local Toyota dealer.
And a bit outside. Lorenzo Cain to follow. The payoff pitch is skied out into center field for Denard Span. And Span will make the catch. 2 outs. So 7 pitches, 2 outs, and that'll bring up Cain. Royals are 29-34, and their division's a little weak right now, which keeps them in the race. They're only 5 games back of Minnesota. They've won 3 straight. They're 12-18 on the road. Here's the first pitch to Cain, and Cain takes a strike. Cain went 1 for 5 last night. He scored a run. His history against Johnny Cueto is 2 hits and 7 at bats, and one of those 2 hits a double. Up the middle, and a base hit.
Well, this is our 4D, and you can see the motion. And when you look at Cueto, you always look at the balance that he has once he gets out over his front foot with his hand. And what's unique about that is he can give you a number of different windups. And for the most part, when you start to vary windups, you will vary that release point. With Cueto, it never happens, and that really is what makes him special.
Here's Hosmer. Hosmer having a fine season. 1 for 4 last night. And here he hits a slow roller to Cueto, and that's going to end the inning. So on 1 pitch, Hosmer's gone. Giants are coming up. Span, Nunez, and Belt. Here's Bruce Bochy's lineup, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It'll be Span, Nunez, and Belt. Buster Posey hitting .352. He'll be the cleanup hitter. Crawford, Pence, and then Joe Panik. Welcome back. And then it's Austin Slater, followed by Johnny Cueto.
On the mound today for the Kansas City Royals will be Jason Hamill, the veteran. Hamill, 34 years of age. He's a 10-year veteran at the big league level. He's also 6'6", 225 pounds. And one thing about Hamill is that he comes right over the top. He's going to give you lots of fastballs that have lots of sink on him. He's kind of a sinker slider guy. He's also got a curveball and a changeup, but for the most part, you're going to see hard stuff. The key to him is being able to dominate the knee-high location. When he does that, he can be very, very tough. When he does that, you'll see a lot of ground balls. Lifetime against the Giants, he has never beaten them. He's 0-3 with a lifetime 3.02 ERA.
So here's Denard Span. Span hitting .253. He's got 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. He took an 0 for 4 last night, and he has had little success against Hamill, going 2 for 22 lifetime. So Span slightly open stance, got the pant legs pulled up high to show off the orange and black socks. And it's low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
All right, our summertime bucket list. Giants game, check it off. Take our little sister to her first game, check it off. High five Lucille, check it off. Watch the Warriors win the championship, check it off. Catch a foul ball, well, we'll see.
Foul back. It's 1 and 2.
Love the day games because you see a lot of families, a lot of kids. And that's her first game. Well, welcome.
One ball and 2 strikes with Nunez on deck. Foul back.
Check out the Royals defensively playing behind Hamill today, starting in their outfield from left to right. It's going to be Gordon, Kane, and Bonifacio. Good strong arms across the outfield for Kansas City. Escobar, Moustakas on the left side. Merrifield and Hosmer on the right side. Drew Butera, he'll be in the squad putting down the signs. Second generation player.
Got him.
Good, hard breaking ball. I mean, that's what Hamill can do to you if he gets that thing working. Take a look at the break. Head the count and snap that thing and let it fall right out of the strike zone. Cannot throw a better one than that.
So here's Nunez hitting .299 with 4 home runs, 24 runs batted in. And the first pitch is high, 1 ball and no strikes. Nunez yesterday went 1 for 4. Swing and a miss, and you go 1 for 4. That dropped his average under 300.
Yeah, he's had a good month getting his average above 300 there for a long time. I mean, he was down in the low 2s, and then he just caught fire.
Gets jammed, stumbled out of the box, and they got him.
Sure, they'll look at this one. This is close. Will Little, the first base umpire, making the call. I think he may have been safe. It's got to be obvious.
Well,
the question is, did his toe touch the bag? And I'm not sure it did.
Did he hit the bag? That's. Other than that, I agree with you.
I don't think there's enough there to challenge this early in the game.
So here's Belt. Belt takes very high, 1 ball and no strikes.
If he touches the bag,
you might have a case.
And he may have dragged his toe on it. I don't know, but it just wasn't obvious.
Belt pops it up. Moustakas doing the pop-up dance, puts it away, and that'll end the inning. Giants go quietly. It's 0-0. It's 0-0. We have a couple of guests. We have Michael Milken, who's here, and this is, I don't know, what'd you say, 22nd or
22 years.
All
22
right.
years.
And CEO of the Giants, our boss, Larry Baer. And welcome, both of you.
I don't think there's a better place in America to be than in this ballpark on a sunny, beautiful day in San Francisco.
Now, you don't say that to everyone, Michael, because this is your 24th ballpark. You're visiting all 30. Do you say that to everyone?
No, I don't, because when it's sunny in San Francisco and it's this beautiful and it's almost 70 degrees, you really appreciate it.
Well, what we really appreciate, and you guys have been eyewitnesses to it, is now for 22 years, Michael has raised unbelievable amount of money to fund research and to fund breakthroughs in prostate cancer. And I have to say, you know, we've been proud enough to be here for all those years, and it's been spectacular, Michael.
And I want you to know it wasn't easy those first 5 years or so at Candlestick. You know, when I couldn't wear a jacket because Peter McGowan would not allow any guest to wear a jacket if you're on broadcast.
We were in tank tops at Candlestick, short sleeves. That was the dress code for Giants workers. You know, come on. If the players can play, we can watch in shirt sleeves. 2
layers of warm underwear. But when you think about what's happened, and the idea for Keep Dad in the Game 22 years ago that started right here at a breakfast meeting in San Francisco. Men weren't being checked for prostate cancer, a simple blood test, and the idea was, okay, let's go to the ballpark and remind them to get.
Well, this one is hit a long way and may end up in the water. Nope. It bounces into the water, and it's 1-0. And you hear those are not boos. Those are for Moustakas as he takes the grand tour. It's 1-0 Kansas City. So we could ignore that. Go ahead, Michael. like it didn't happen.
So what happened is that the month that most men got tested was the month of July, right after Major League Baseball. And what's happened in 22 years, we raised $45 million. We got matches of 15-1. It turned into $700 million. 6 new drugs approved. Death rate dropped 80%. There's 1.5 million more men alive today. And there's these drugs, 6 new drugs like abiraterone, people that failed surgery, failed hormones, failed radiation. For most people, it puts it into remission. And so now, even if you don't catch it early.
There's a drive down the left field line, and that's a fair ball. So Escobar is going to roll into second base with a double. So home run double. Go ahead, Michael.
So there's a good chance for everyone to live a normal life. Probability today, 99% of people live 5 years or more. Diagnosed, 99%.
You know, I also think that throughout this time frame that you're talking about, a lot of, I don't want to say big name people, but there have been that were former players, baseball executives, managers, coaches that have been affected by all of this.
Even broadcast booth.
Yeah, sure. Here's Alex Gordon, and Gordon flips one into center field that Crawford's going to catch.
So you know, when we showed a video here at the ballpark of Joe Torre speaking before the game, and Joe has been one of your leading advocates, and I know he has traveled with you, and it's been spectacular what Joe has done on behalf of the foundation.
Well, he was diagnosed in '99, and we discovered that nutrition today, and there's a clinical study right now, results in Philadelphia, that for some men, just changing your diet and nutrition energizes your immune system and puts your cancer into remission. So we now have proof.
Here's Salbutera.
Of what it could do. And what the other things, when you think, let's think of 3 things that have changed for everyone. One, sequencing the genome went from $1 billion to $1,000, going to 100. So we now know that one form of prostate cancer.
This will be belt to Cueto.
one form of prostate cancer matches against 90% of the deaths from colon cancer and 30 to 40% of people who die from breast cancer. So when you solve that one form of prostate cancer, you're going to pretty much eliminate colon cancer as a cause of death and have a substantial effect on breast cancer.
Earlier, this was on the field. A little ceremony on the field before the ball game.
One of the things we're really proud of is our neighbor here. You've done a lot of work with UCSF. Our neighbor just down the street, Dr. Peter Carroll, and the group at UCSF has, I know, been a major partner with you throughout this, on all the 22 years.
And they are in the ballpark today. And 100% of all the money we've raised in the Bay Area has been reinvested at Stanford, Berkeley, and UCSF. You know, this is one of the real assets of this area.
1-2 to Hamill. The home run by Moustakas. It's 1-0. Michael Milken here. Larry Baer with us.
3 of the top 10 bioscience universities in the world, in the entire world, are Stanford, Berkeley, and UCSF.
Wow. 1-2 pitch. He got him, and that's going to end the inning. Gentlemen, it went fast. Appreciate it. You're going to go see John?
HomeRunChallenge.org.
HomeRunChallenge.org. Coming from someone who hit a lot of them, you know?
An automaker with the longest lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
It's a 1-0 lead on the home run by Moustakas. And for the Giants, it'll be Buster Posey who's going to lead things off. And Buster swings and hits a high foul down the right field line and out of play. Buster last night had a couple of hits. 2 for 3, raised his average to over 250. And the pitch is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Moustakas, by the way, his home run is 18th of the year.
He's having a nice first half.
Runs inside to Buster Posey. 4 for 14 against Jason Hamill.
Yeah, plus, you know, we always talk about it, how when a hitter hits a home run off of a pitcher, then that pitcher becomes part of that hitter's book. He's in his book. And however many home runs you have at the end of your career, that's how many pages your book has.
Hit on the ground to short. Escobar to Hosmer. On Saturday, January 24th, the first 30,000 fans are going to receive a Giants retro bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola. Tickets always available at sfgiants.com. Here's Crawford.
But hitters also like to put ballparks in their book. And I think if you're a home run hitter, I mean, this is a ballpark you really want to put in your book because it's not a home run hitter's haven.
Crawford takes down low.
But that one Moustakas hit, that was an impressive home run. And his ballpark is now in Moustakas' book.
And the pitch to Crawford is a strike at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pence to follow. And Crawford takes low and in. You can see where Hamill's trying to pound that baseball to Crawford. Off the line at third is Moustakas, and Crawford hits it that way, but he hits it into the seats down the left field line.
Well, he was on that curveball. He's not fooled at all that time. Yeah, fringe for life. About his glove. All right, let's take a look at the play. This is the good swing and the balance that Crawford had on that breaking ball. So definitely not fooled on the speed.
Crawford fouls this one back and out of play. I think right now the difference between the Brandon Crawford when he's going well to the Brandon Crawford right now is he's making contacts. He's just not putting those balls in play. Once he starts putting them in play, things are going to start to move because he's got a pretty good swing going. This one on the ground to Hosmer. 2 outs. All right, let's check in with Amy G. Amy.
All right, gentlemen. Johnny Cueto facing his former team, of which he won the 2015 World Series championship today. He said he's still very good friends with several of the guys on the Royals. He follows them via social media. He also said he was extremely proud to be part of such a talented group. And I asked him, well, how do you approach your former teammates? He said, hey, today they're not former teammates. They are opponents. We are not friends, and I'm going to do the best I can to win a game, guys.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, it's all called being a professional baseball player.
Here's Hunter Pence, 235. And the pitch to Pence is down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck is Joe Panik.
We used to have a Double-A manager, Doc Edwards, used to say, you can't have a friend be an opponent. When you're playing baseball, you do not like that person you're playing, even if it's your brother.
Swing and a miss. 1 and 2.
You'd say, hey, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, if there's a puddle of mud right there, you step on his head and put his face down in the puddle of mud and hope he holds his breath until the end of the game. Then get him up, dust him off, clean him up, and go buy him a beer. Yeah, it was a point well made. We all remembered it.
Pence takes low, 2 and 2.
But the point being is that it's an opponent. And you better have the killer instinct.
Hit on the ground and into left field, a base hit. Infield's pretty quick today.
As fast as we've seen it in a while. All right, time now for our Jeep drive of the game, the 2014 World Series Game 1. Hunter Pence hit a 2-run homer in the top of the first inning off a big game James Shields, and the Giants would go on to win 7-1. That swing of the bat stunned Shields. I don't see many right-handed hitters hit balls out of the ballpark in Kansas City in that location.
Here's Joe Panic. Panic hitting .255. And a strike on the inside corner. Joe 2 for 4 lifetime against Hamill. Had a play in Milwaukee where he dove and rolled over on his glove hand and kind of messed with his thumb. And a base hit to left. So that's a good sign. And here's Slater.
Welcome back, Joe Panic. And that's what Joe Panic does. I mean, he waits well. He takes a big breaking ball. It's got some hang time to it. And he goes the opposite way, and then it's on the outside corner. No stride. Head stays very still. So he just passed the thumb test. What do you think?
He did. He passed it on the curveball. He still needs to pass it on that fastball in.
That is the big test. Yep, get his barbecue mitt.
So here's Austin Slater. And a bouncing ball to the right side. It'll be Merrifield who makes the play, and that'll end the inning. Giants strand a pair after 2. It's 1-0 Kansas City.
Schedule. Some awesome giveaways are connected. Summer of Love and Game of Thrones night, and of course the long-standing fan favorite Pixar Day. Reminder, to receive these great special event items, you need to purchase a special event ticket. To do so, go to sfgiants.com/special events. I want to get that. I want to get that. I want to get that.
Yes, you do. So here's the top of the order in Merrifield. And a call strike. Merrifield popped out to right to open up the ball game. Moustakas, a solo home run. It's 1-0 Kansas City. A bunt attempt, third base side. Nunez cannot come up with it. It's a hit. So now you got speed on the bases.
Well, where Nunez is playing dictated this. Merrifield saw the opportunity. I mean, it wasn't especially great bunt, but it was going to be a do-or-die play to the bare hand for Nunez, and with the speed of Merrifield putting pressure on the plate, he just could not come up with a grip to get a throw off. So a nice read and nice job for Merrifield to set it up.
Bonifacio hit a fly ball. Throw to first. I think Whitfield just learned, or Merrifield just learned something.
Well, Johnny Cueto does indeed have a good move. And Johnny's looking in the Giants dugout. They're reviewing this because Johnny thought they had him. Well, if he touched him with the glove, I think they got him.
Yeah, he did not touch him. Bonifacio takes that first pitch down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Crawford in panic at double play death. Patrick Marlowe's here with the fan.
Go Sharks.
The boys. Center field. Hit pretty well. Span back. Gone. Home run number 9 for Bonifacio, and it's 3-0.
Now we talked about this ballpark playing small today. It doesn't have its normal protection of wind. And because of that, the right side of the field and center field, they play a lot smaller than we see normally. And this is an example of this. Ball out over the plate. Bonifacio, not much of a stride either. I mean, it's just a strong-handed swing of the bat. That's impressive.
So here's Kane. Kane singled in the first. And a called strike. Driven to left, and this one's gone. So that's the 3rd home run of the afternoon, and it's 4-0.
And right now, Dave Righetti going to come out. Just give Johnny Cueto a chance to regroup. If you're a Giants pitcher, you're not used to this ballpark playing small. I mean, you're used to balls that come off the bat. You pretty much know if they have a chance to get out. It's a changeup that goes down and in. And all Kane does is just tee it up and golf it out of here. Low line drive. And you never see a ball like that get hit out of here. And Johnny Cueto can't believe it. But today, the wind is not whipping. It is a small ballpark.
So nobody out. Here's Eric Hosmer. Hosmer bounced back to, actually bounced right back to Cueto. And that pitch just a little inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hosmer chases the high fastball. 1-2. Chop foul at the plate. 2-2. Well, hey, if it's a small yard today for Kansas City, it's a small yard today for the Giants.
Absolutely. Playing field is as even as you can get.
1-2. He had a rip.
Yeah, he didn't get cheated.
They're trying to go back to back to back.
Well, if you've got home run power like Hosmer has, and you see the two guys ahead of you both hit one out of the ballpark, it's got to be in the back of your mind that that's what you're trying to do. Trying to join the party.
Tried to freeze him and missed. It's 2-2. And that's foul.
Heads up, O'Rourke.
Patrick O'Rourke. Got a bad bounce.
With that glove, you need all the good bounces you could possibly get.
Roll foul again.
Let's go.
So for Cueto, 42 pitches. Lines this one at Slater. 1 out. Ball hit very well. Moustakas hit the first home run of the afternoon. It is 18th. One bounce into the water. And he looks at a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Two and 0. Cueto doing a little work on the mound. Crawford's now going to move to the right of second base.
Moustakas more home runs than any third baseman in baseball.
And this is lifted into the seats. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Moustakas a solid first half. You still have 14 games before they hit the midway point in the season. And if you're Moustakas and you have 18 home runs, you're thinking this is going to be a year where you have a chance to hit 40. They don't have many guys that play in Kansas City that even flirt with 40 home run seasons because of the dimensions of the ballpark.
So there's the walk. Here's Escobar. First walk issued by Cueto. Escobar picked up a double. Did that in the second inning following Moustakas' home run. And he takes wide. 1 ball and no strikes. Last night it was windy here. We saw some white caps. No, not today. Very nice. There's a big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. Very calm out in the bay.
Brandon Crawford was talking about the wind that was here at AT&T on Sunday, the worst he'd ever seen it. He said it actually affected the way that the ground balls came to you. It would move them.
And a base hit to left. So that'll bring up Gordon. Not much you could do about that.
Escobar's had a nice series.
Yes, he had. He came in hitting well under 200 And now he's creeping his way up to 200. That's how calm it is.
Wasn't that the boat in Jaws?
Yeah. How it got here from Martha's Vineyard, I have no idea. There's a call strike. Gordon hit a soft line drive to Crawford in the second. Out of play, 0-2. But we got in on the hands of Alex Gordon. It is odd to see him hit this low in the lineup. When the Giants and Royals played in the World Series, he was top of the order. Got him.
Backdoor cutter in absolutely perfect location. Second strikeout for Johnny Cueto. See the target from Posey. And really Gordon in kind of a protect mode. And in the end, it just winds up being an emergency swing, and it's already by him. Perfect location.
Butera rolled out to Belt.
We mentioned Butera, a second-generation player. His dad, Sal Butera, played for 9 years at the big league level.
Not surprisingly, both catchers.
Well, his dad, Sal, had catcher's face. Drew doesn't quite have catcher's face like the old man.
Here. Just off the plate. Pitch number 57 is hit to Panic. Panic to Belt. A 3-run third inning with 2 home runs. It's 4-0.
Reminder that the Warriors NBA Championship Parade is tomorrow at 9 a.m. You'll see it on NBC Sports Bay Area, streaming on NBC Sports app. And why watch it anywhere but on the authentic home of your 2017 World Champion Warriors, NBC Sports Bay Area, and streamed on NBC Sports app. Papa, Saint, Kalena, and Monty will anchor the coverage with Roz and the Warriors Outsiders on site with exclusive blue carpet interviews. Check it out.
Cueto on the ground and thrown out by a half a step. So one pitch went out, and that'll bring up Span. Span opened up the bottom of the first with a strikeout. So Hamill deals to Span, and Span takes a strike. Hamill, kind of an odd way to set up. It doesn't look like he's in a windup. Doesn't look like he's in the stretch. It's like it's somewhere in the middle.
It's kind of the new windup.
Look out! That hit him.
I think it got him in the back foot with that curveball.
Yep.
Take a look at the break coming right in, and it just kept following Span. He had nowhere to go.
Doink.
Left knee or on his left toe.
Hey, John Miller's here. Dave Fleming's on assignment. John will be in with Mike innings 4, 5, and 6. I'll be back here in the 7th. Here's Nunez, who rolled out to short. Backhanded by Butera. This is what you call a short armor for an umpire.
Neat.
Okay. Yeah.
For a second, it was going to hit Butera in the head. Jeff Kellogg, come on, you got more than that.
Jeff, don't tell me that's the reason why you decided to be an umpire. Is it possible for umpires to get the yips?
Yes.
Here's the pitch to Nunez. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's why they're umpires. And Ed Montague, if you're watching, we're just kidding. Kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I think every umpire should have to pass the "can you play catch" test.
I know.
On deck is Belt. Giants trying to make a dent into this 4-0 Kansas City lead. Right there on the inside corner, 1 and 2. A good pitch. And the 1-2, and Nunez stays alive. Nunez has been the Giants' hottest hitter right now. Hamill gets a new baseball as he rubs it up.
One thing about the fastball, if you're hitting off of Hamill from the right side, is that it's going to move into you. And if you've got a little lengthier swing and he throws that ball in the inside corner, you're going to have a tough time getting the barrel on it.
Span does not have a steal this year. Hamill, the high set right at the chin. Span inching off. Little pop up down the right field line. Bonifacio giving chase. And that'll be just up against that sidewall.
So Bonifacio making a few friends down there as he flips the ball into the stands. Hey, Jerry Garcia lives. Well, who didn't know that?
Up the middle, under the glove. Spans, stops, and he gets to second. Merrifield needed to run Span back a little further.
Well, you're right. I mean, the priority is the lead runner. You don't want to allow anybody to get in the scoring position. So if you're a second baseman, you got to give up the idea of getting two, but you have to make sure you get that lead runner. So a nice job there from Span to avoid the tag and put himself in scoring position. And it winds up being a productive out.
So 2 outs for Belt. Belt popped out to Moustakas to end the first. Overshift is on for Belt, and he takes a pitch inside. Belt 1 for 8 lifetime with a home run.
You see the shift. But this is a very important at bat. I mean, after the Giants put up a 3-spot, or the Royals put up a 3-spot in the top of the third, this is a big at bat to try and answer. Even if it's just 1 run. Answer.
Out of play. There's the winner.
It's Pamela. Nice play, Pamela.
Belt pulls it foul. It's 1 and 2.
Think about Hamill. He has not missed many locations right out over the middle of the plate.
No, he is not.
His movement has stayed on the corner. You're doing that as a pitcher, you're going to be tough.
Down low. Nice block. 2 and 2. So Butera goes out to have a word. Mason Hamill's got a 4-run lead. Trying to keep it at that, facing Belt here with a count of 2 and 2. A little pop up out to right field, and that's going to end the inning. John Miller will be in. I'll see you back here in the 7th. It's 4-0 Kansas City.
Ray Ratto and Kelly Johnson will bring you the happy hour on NBC Sports Bay Area and NBCSportsBayArea.com. Also available to listen live and as a podcast on NBCSportsBayArea.com. Here at AT&T Park today, we're going to the top of the fourth inning, and the Giants trail the Kansas City Royals by a score of 4-0. Here to tell you all about it, my pal John Miller.
And Jason Hamill, the Kansas City pitcher. And the count is strike one. The Royals hitting the long ball today. The wind has picked up a little bit now. When the game started, there was really no wind at all blowing here. There's a swing and a miss, strike two, and it's 0-2. So we speculated over on the radio side about how, as you've often said, when there's no wind blowing here at all, this park plays small, or it tends to. Plus, it's a warm day, and there's a ball in the dirt, 1-2. And it's been playing small for the Royals anyway, I noticed.
Yeah, it's not playing that small for the Giants yet. But, you know, we watched the Royals take batting practice. The Giants did not get on the field prior to the game.
Right to the shortstop, Crawford. And that's all for Hamill. And even so, the Kansas City pitcher hit that ball right in the nose.
But the batting practice the Royals took today was loud. There were balls flying out all over this ballpark. And it just happens every once in a while when you get a hot day and you don't get a lot of wind, and this ballpark becomes a normal ballpark. You see carry to right field, even for right-handed hitters. But as the wind picks up today, it'll get a little bit more fair towards the pitcher.
The pop-up by Merrifield. Crawford looking up into the bright sunshine. 2 down. Cueto could use a quick inning here. He'd thrown 57 pitches in the first 3 innings. The Royals hit 3 home runs in the first 3, including Moustakas in the second with the bases empty, and then Bonifacio with a man aboard in the third, and the next hitter, Kane, also hit a home run. Within the span of 8 batters, they hit 3 home runs. And that's ball 1 to Bonifacio. This is a rookie that he came up after the season started. He's got 9 home runs for them. And he hits that one off the foot. So the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. He's the younger brother of Emilio Bonifacio, a longtime major leaguer, kind of a utility player. And he doesn't remind you of his older brother in any way. In fact, he's built like he's the older brother.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Emilio's built for speed, and Jorge built for a little more power.
He's hit 7 of his 9 home runs on the road. Half swing. There's Belt. Inning over. And that is a quick inning for Cueto. 8 pitches and out. Buster Posey when we come back.
Sports Bay Area is brought to you by Kelly Moore Paints. Go where the pros go. Kelly Moore, the painter's paint store. by the craftsmen of commerce at Pitney Bowes, helping U.S. online retailers expand globally, and by Provident Credit Union Super Reward Checking. We pay you.
Four 0 Royals. We're in the bottom half of the fourth inning, and Buster Posey going to lead things off here for the Giants. So far, Jason Hamill, the starting pitcher for the Royals, has been very, very good. He has really stayed to the corners with his sink and his curveball combination. They have been lethal. The Giants haven't been able to figure him out.
Ball one to Buster. He grounded out to short his first time. Giants' only hits came in succession in the second inning after two were down. Pence and Panic both singled to left field. 2-0. And right through there for a called strike. Seems like the fastball is the one that he's thrown sparingly today.
Yeah, a lot of breaking balls. I mean, Hamill could be a guy that could be the exact opposite, where he'll dominate with his sinker, get a lot of outs within 3 pitches. And then other days, ride a curveball. As you mentioned, Hamill, a 10-year veteran. And I mean, that's some of the lessons you learn along the way. And that is never look a gift horse in the mouth. You get a good curveball, you ride it. You get a good sinker, ride it.
3-1. And he got the call on the inside with that 86-mile-an-hour breaking ball. Full count.
Buster thought this pitch was high. We haven't seen many of those high breaking balls called. Giants looking for base runners. That's what Posey's trying to do. Get on to start the inning off, down 4 runs.
It's a foul tip. Strike 3. Let's go upstairs to our colleague Amy G.
All right, thanks so much, John. Some good news to report on Madison Bumgarner. He just keeps getting stronger every day through another bullpen session earlier this morning. He is still scheduled to throw a simulated game on Friday should he come out of this bullpen session feeling well. A quick note on Jarrett Parker, gentlemen. He will travel with the team to Colorado and serve as a hitter in Madison's simulated game and then go on to begin a rehab assignment. John, Mike?
All right. Good to hear. Here's Brandon Crawford. That is going to fall for a base hit in right center, and Crawford has his first hit of the game. He's 1 for 2.
You know, one of the toughest things about getting injured is trying to get back and get your swing. I mean, you're deprived of a spring training, especially if it's an injury like Parker had, a broken collarbone where you're going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, and you're going to lose all of your baseball skills that you honed in during spring training. So now all of a sudden you rush yourself to get back. Well, for Parker, what's he get to do? He gets to get started against Madison Bumgarner in a simulated game. I'm not sure how enthusiastic he'd be about that.
Here's Hunter Pence, who singled to left his first time.
Ooh. On it. Just missed it. Take a look at the pitch he got. He hadn't been seeing a lot of mistakes up with the fastball from Hamill. That time he got one and he just missed it.
A ball and a strike now. It's hit well to right, but back there is Bonifacio. Crawford returns to first, 2 down.
Well, the Giants Insider Podcast is back on NBCSportsBayArea.com, brought to you by Max Muscle. And you can log on each week as Insider Alex Pavlovich will talk baseball with players, coaches, special guests, and more. The Giants Insider Podcast with Alex Pavlovich on NBCSportsBayArea.com. Also available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify.
Joe Panik hit a single into left field his first time. This is his first game since last Thursday when he sprained his left thumb. That is foul off the left field line. Giants are anxious to see guys like Crawford, Posey, Pence, Panik get back to their career norms. Not just to see them hit like superstars, just get back to their career norms right now. As Bruce Bochy says, to get back to what it shows on the back of their baseball card. There's a foul off the left field side.
Well, and you play a few years, I mean, and, you know, you're going to develop some tendencies, and numbers are going to start jumping off the page. And when you're in a year where you're 20 to 30 points below your lifetime average, well, I mean, players don't have a lot of patience with that. And when you have 4 or 5 guys in your lineup that are going through the same thing, well, then you're in a slump. Then you're just not going to have a year where you're scoring runs. But it can all change quickly. And that's what the Giants are hoping they see, especially in this upcoming road trip when they see 2 really good offensive yards, great places to hit.
That's a base hit to right field. Crawford will go around to third base. Throw goes into second. Panik is 2 for 2. 2 men on, 2 men out, and Austin Slater, the rookie, will come up. Slater, who going back to Saturday's game against the Twins, right up to his first at bat today, 7 hits and 12 at bats. He's been hot. He grounded out to second his first time tonight or this afternoon. The foul ball, and it's 0-1.
First pitch breaking ball. It's kind of what you expect to see if you're hitting 8th place ahead of a pitcher in the National League. You are going to see a lot of first pitch off speed stuff. You see a lot of corner pitches. If you're going to be a good 8th place hitter, you have to be able to expand the zone, and you have to be able to use the whole field when you hit.
Crawford at third, Panik at first. Hosmer on the bag with Panik. And he took that one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a good pitch. I mean, Hamill's got a 4-run lead. I mean, he doesn't want to walk anybody, but if he did with a pitcher on deck, it wouldn't be the end of the world in his mind. And that's the difference between the National League and the American League, that mindset.
High and tight. He buzzed him. 2-1. That is a base hit. Crawford scores. Panik to third. And Austin Slater delivers with the 2-out base hit, and he scalded that ball.
Well, that's a 2-strike, 2-out RBI. And the way that he did it, again, we talk about the necessity of being able to use the whole field as an 8th place hitter, because you're going to see a lot of corner stuff, a lot of breaking balls. And that's one strength that we have quickly defined in watching Slater play. He likes the right side of the field. He stays in beautifully. Nice opposite field gap line drive. And that swing of the bat right there just brought some life to the Giants bench.
Now Cueto, who grounded out to short his first time. StatCast says 104 miles an hour off the bat there for Slater. Strike one to Cueto. So he hit that one very hard.
Yeah, curveballs aren't going to supply a lot of power to velocity off the bat. Fastballs will. So for Slater to have that type of exit velocity hitting a breaking ball, that tells you something about the kind of hand strength he has.
Four to one, Kansas City leading. Slater, who today is playing his 9th major league game. That's his 7th RBI. That is Hamill, just in time to get Cueto as he was hustling up the line. A run on 3 hits for the Giants. It's 4-1 Kansas City. We go to the 5th.
Top 5th inning. Time now for our McDonald's True Stories. We go back to June 14th of 1997. And that's when Rich Aurelia hit the first grand slam in interleague history. Hit it off of Alan Watson in the 2nd inning, and the Giants would go on to win that ball game 10-3. And that is our McDonald's True Stories. Let's go, Dickie. Had a bid.
Giants played the very first interleague game in Major League history. And it was the first one by, what, half an hour? They played at the ballpark in Arlington, Texas, as I think it was called that in those days. They and the Texas Rangers played. And it was really cool because it had all the trappings of the World Series. National League team, with some big stars like Barry Bonds. The American League team had a lot of big stars in that Rangers ball club. And first ball ceremonies, Willie Mays, Nolan Ryan went out to the mound together throughout the ceremonial first pitches. And before the game, the Giants center fielder Darryl Hamilton, who had played for several years in the American League, he was telling everybody about Pudge Rodriguez, the catcher, who's going into the Hall of Fame this year. He says, do not take too much of a secondary league because he will pick you off and you won't even know what happened. And he's preaching to the Giants base runners about what to do. Well, he leads off the game and he gets on first base. First base runner in interleague history. Gets his secondary lead. The pitch comes in outside. Pudge throws down to first.
Picks him off.
Well, he picked him off, except he had a little, he angled his body and he drew one hand back and reached the other hand around. And he somehow beat the, and I think it was Will Clark who was making the tag. And he couldn't get the tag on him in time. But the whole dugout was just doubled up in laughter.
Hysterical. Hey,
So
good scout report, Hambone. Got a babe.
So you mean don't do that? Is that it?
I miss him. That was a loss when he was killed tragically.
The late Darrell Hamilton, and he came to the Giants, and he was the leadoff man in that '97 team. That team surprised everybody, maybe not themselves, because everybody said, no, this team's going nowhere. They got off to a great start, and they won the National League Western Division title that year. That's a walk for Lorenzo Cain, who homered his last time up.
Johnny Cueto not going to be happy about that walk. This team just started getting a little something going offensively. They got on the board. You want to have a quick shutdown inning, and a leadoff walk is not what he wanted to do.
He's walked 2 now. And a called strike to Eric Hosmer, who has hit one back to Cueto and lined out to left. Oh, 2 the count now. Moustakas, the Royals' top home run hitter and one of the top home run hitters in the majors so far this year, is on deck. Just off the outside.
Just missing with that little backdoor cutter. Just trying to shave it. I mean, that's a perfect 0-2 pitch. I mean, that's what he's trying to do.
Slater gets it back in. Stopping at third is Cain, a double for Eric Hosmer. So here come the Royals again. It started with a walk, and that's the first hit of the game for Hosmer.
This is devastating when you make a pitch that's off the outside part of the plate, and a guy takes you right down the opposite line like Hosmer just did. And this is something he does a lot of. It's always been one of his strengths. And the mistake in the pitch was the elevation. It was above the belt. But really, you have to credit the approach that Hosmer has in order to take advantage of it. 38 opposite field hits, and that league leads the American League.
On 1 the count to Moustakas. Moustakas, he along with Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, and several other young Royals were the guys who came up through the farm system together. Will Myers was one of those guys. And they thought, well, when these guys get here, this is when everything will change for the Royals. They had been finishing in the 2nd division year after year after year.
100% pure strikeout situation here for Cueto.
Moustakas homered his first time, walked his next time, and he got that one by him, a foul tip. Moustakas has struck out 40 times so far this year. He's been a tough out for Cueto. 4 hits, 5 at bats, plus a walk in his career versus Cueto, including today. Giants infield in halfway with runners at 2nd and 3rd. And he gets the strikeout.
right above the hands with the payoff pitch, and that's one of the best fastballs and the best fastball locations he's throwing today. Right to the intended target. Posey just flaps the glove and he pounds it, and that's a big strikeout.
It was 68 degrees at game time, and I think it's up in the 70s now. And taking advantage of it, taking an afternoon promenade with Dad on the arcade. Strike one on the foul ball. Escobar, who has doubled and singled. Cueto's not been able to get him out today.
Two hits in last night's game as well for Escobar. It's been a tough out in the series.
A ball and a strike with Alex Gordon, a left-handed hitter, on deck.
One thing that veteran pitchers will do, I mean, they'll take notice as to who's swinging the bat in that series. If you're the guy who's pitching the third game of the series, you're going to have a pretty good idea. No matter what the scouting report says, you're looking at a guy play 2 games. And if he's hot, you stay away with him. And if you're Johnny Cueto, you have to say that Escobar has been hot just based on what you saw in last night's ball game, his first 2 at-bats today. He's got an open base here. He doesn't have to give in to him.
He had the hit. He slapped one right past the first base bag last night with the bases loaded. And suddenly a 2-1 game was a 4-1 game. Three and one.
Yeah, and he's pitching him that way. He's pitching him with respect.
And Escobar not having a very good year with the bat, but 4 hits in 7 at-bats in this series, including 2 for 2 today. So that's a big deal to see how guys swinging that day.
That's why it's such an advantage to be the guy that pitched the last game of the series, because you're going to get a first-hand look at how your opponents are swinging, to get an idea as to how they're approaching their at-bats, what speed they're looking for. Just watch their back leg through their at-bats.
That's a foul out of play. 3-2 now. Kansas City that have a lot of guys that have started to hit the last 10 games coming into play today. The Royals have averaged 6.5 runs a game in their last 10. Is Ned Yost, who comes from Northern California, the Bay Area. This group of Kansas City Royals got to the World Series against the Giants in 14, won it in 15. He struck him out looking.
Front door cutter, and it's the first time that he used the pitch in that sequence. And not only just to use the pitch, but to put such great location on it. I mean, that's a big league pitch right there in a strikeout situation. He's thinking, I'm either going to walk or I'm going to strike him out with this corner attempt, and he nailed it. Again, watch Posey hardly even move the glove. Boom. See ya.
Here's Alex Gordon now. Runners at second and third, 2 down. And that's into the Kansas City dugout. Look out. Merrifield there, number 15. He ducked under it. I think it went right over his head.
You got to have big shoulders if your name's Merrifield, because you're going to put a lot of letters on the back of your jersey.
I wonder if he edited his name a little bit just to make sure that it did fit.
I mean, the M's almost hanging into his armpit. I mean, it's close.
1 ball, 1 strike to the veteran Gordon, who's hitting only 187. Drew Butera is on deck, a right-handed hitter. First base is empty. This is only the 5th inning. Cueto is about to throw his 87th pitch of the afternoon. And it's 1-2.
Well, he's pulling everything he's got out of the gas tank. And he's 1 strike away from pitching out of a runner at second, third, nobody out situation. And this is all about competition right here.
Kane at third, Hosmer at second, 2 down. Taken for a ball.
93-mile-an-hour fastball. It's been about the best velocity fastball he's had today.
Royals already leading 4-1. They had runners at second and third. Nobody out in the inning. Now 2 down. The 2-2 pitch. And it's a full count.
That's a setup pitch. It's a pitch he just wanted to let him gauge the speed and the movement. The pitch he wants to throw to get him out. It's coming up 3-2. And again, if he walks him, he could care less.
Gordon 0 for 2 in this game. Butera, who's on deck, a right-handed hitter, also 0 for 2. 3-2. And the foul ball.
Nice tight little cutter. Yeah, that's the same pitch that he threw to get Moustakas. The thing about that pitch that he has, that cutter, is he's got such great command with it.
Just off the corner, and he walks him.
That's a great pitch. I mean, he would have taken it. Every pitcher wanted it. You wonder how a guy could take this in a 2-strike count as to how close this was. And look at that 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the highest velocity that he's had. Again, an example of him digging deep. But he was not going to give in to the power hitter, even though Gordon's hitting under 200. He's got reputation. And if you're Cueto, you nibble until you have to. And take your chances with Butera.
Called strike 1. Butera has grounded out to first and grounded out to second. Giants are sending somebody down to the bullpen now with the bases loaded. Kane at third, Hosmer at second, Gordon at first. George Cantos heads down to the pen. And it's 0-2.
Good hard slider there. Quickly on top of Butera, 0-2.
Struck him out. Johnny Cueto keeps the Royals off the board. 3 men left. Top of the order. Span, Nunez, Belt coming up.
Is presented by the authority of the San Francisco Giants and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of San Francisco Giants Baseball Club, LLC.
Giants trailing 4-1 as they come to bat here in the last half of the 5th inning. Hey, hello. And hi.
How's she going?
Denard Span has struck out and been hit by a pinch. Leads off against Jason Hamill. Base hit off the glove, off the very tip of the glove of Moustakas. The Giants will be home from the road trip a week from Friday the 23rd. The Mets will be in town. And on Sunday the 25th, the first 20,000 fans attending will receive a Summer of Love blanket presented by the DeYoung Museum. Tickets always available at sfgiants.com. The DeYoung has a really cool Summer of Love exhibit at the great museum right now. So here is Nunez, who is 0 for 2. Strike one called. Denard Span, you know, before that base hit, his lifetime record against Hamill, 2 hits, 23 at bats.
Yeah, usually numbers like that against a guy get you a day off.
Span back to the bag. Span got hit by a pitch in the 3rd and then had a nice bit of base running to keep the Giants out of a double play. Strike 2 called to Nunez. He's been at odds with Jeff Kellogg a few times today about the strike zone. He's been one of the Giants' hottest hitters, he and Buster Posey. And he's been hot, hitting about 350 for the last month. But he's behind in the count here, 0-2. Hit hard and too hard. Right to Bonifacio. Just would not get down, and he's so frustrated. Took the helmet off halfway to first and tossed it to the ground.
Now this reaction you're talking about, he hit a ball right on the button. That's very therapeutic.
You feel better after that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I always thought it helped. Although it's not a great example for the little leaguers watching. And you have to be aware of that.
Here's Brandon Belt and Span back to the bag.
Because whatever you do, they're going to do.
Nunez hit that ball, according to the StatCast, 102 miles per hour. So you clobber one like that, you're supposed to get a hit. 1 ball, no strikes to Belt. Belt has popped up twice, once to 3rd, once to 2nd. Belt's batting average only .231. He's another Giant anxious to get it going.
Sean Estes fan.
And a pop-up. Moustakas shading the eyes with the glove. And now the catcher, Butera, is the one who catches it.
That's a good play right there. That is very difficult for a catcher. Coming a long way out, number 1, and then that ball in this ballpark is always going to have some drift. So what you think you're going to get as a pop-up is never really what you actually get. And I watch him realize that, hey, this is mine. He doesn't see it. That's just a nice reaction to what could have been a disaster.
So Belt pops out for the 3rd time, and here is Buster Posey. And Hamels has shut him down so far. Buster 0 for 2. Strike 1. The Royals have not made an error since they've hit the West Coast. They had 3 in San Diego over the weekend. And they've been hitting the ball. They scored 20 runs the last 2 games at Petco and 8 runs here last night. That ball is in there for a hit. Span stops at 2nd.
These two teams have a lot of similarities in their offense, their pitching, and their defense. Royals ranked first in the American League, Giants third in the National League. Last night the Royals had 4 Gold Glovers in their lineup. Today the Giants have 3.
So there are the base runners for the Giants. And to look in from the right field foul pole above the Willie Mays wall. Crawford singled and scored his last time. Strike one. He's mostly started ahead of just about every Giants hitter in this game.
And he's been doing it with a lot of first pitch curveballs.
1-1 the count. Crawford is the possible tying run. 0-2.
Still a good swing. I mean, the one thing that when he gets into a little bit of a funk, you'll always see that back shoulder drop a little bit. He doesn't stay quite as flat with the bat because his shoulders have a little dip on the back shoulder, which causes the uppercut. But that last swing, even though he swung through the ball, that back shoulder stayed high. It was a good swing.
2 on, 2 out. And the runners will advance on this one. Man, that was not just a wild pitch. That was an extraordinarily wild pitch.
Butera had none chance. Curveball, pure scud, comes up. Once it comes up high as a catcher, you're kind of done. And that ball was right there, mask high. Butera's out there looking at the dirt out in front of home plate as if somehow the dirt deceived him. He had no chance on that. He's a good ball blocker, real good ball blocker.
So now a base hit could drive in 2 runs. Span at third, Posey at second. And he struck him out. We move to the 6th inning now. Hamill due up. 4-1 Kansas City.
Unlimited baseball. Tomorrow's starter going to be Matt Moore, the lefty, taking on Jeff Hoffman of the Rockies. And for Matt Moore, he'll be number 14 on the start column. Coverage begins at 5:30, and you'll see it right on NBC Bay Area. John and I will be bringing it to you from Coors Field in Colorado.
Brandon Crawford, and no problem on this one. Hamill taking a jog up the first baseline, is retired, 1 away. Hamill is 0 for 3 against Cueto. That was the 95th pitch thrown by Cueto in this game. And it brings up the leadoff man, Whit Merrifield. Dodgers play tonight at Cleveland. The last I checked, they're having a heat wave there in Cleveland. It was around 90 something and humid at game time last night. And the ball is too high. Atlanta is playing in Washington right now and leading 6-2 over the Nationals after 4 innings. 86 degrees and humid in our nation's capital today at game time. And it's warm here, although relatively speaking.
Feels good.
That is a base hit. Merrifield's got his second hit of the game. He had a bunt hit back in the 3rd that started a 3-run rally. So he's 2 for 4. And that's the 9th hit of the game overall for the Royals. All of their runs have been produced by home runs, including a 2-run shot by this guy, Jorge Bonifacio. After the bunt single by Merrifield in the 3rd, he launched one over the center field wall. 430 feet was the estimate, landing on the net above the Giants' garden out there. Strike 1. He had a great spring for the Royals, but they had traded with the Cubs for Jorge Soler. The plan was for Soler, the guy who has so many tools, big, strong, huge power, to be in that outfield. But Soler got off to a slow start, then went on the disabled list, and now he's back in the minor leagues, getting it back together. And Bonifacio came up, and he's been doing great. 9 home runs for him. Bonifacio, this is only his 45th game played in the big leagues, and 7 of his 9 home runs have been hit on the road. The Royals home ballpark is not a good place to hit home runs.
Look out. Now the 3rd inning home run, very impressive, because it's just an example of letting the ball get to you and then using your hand. He didn't have a lot of stride. Guys with no stride that take the ball out to dead center, you better have a strong set of hands, and that's what that swing of the bat exemplified. Impressive.
A little bit high. 2-1. As the Giants have action going in their bullpen. Josh Osich. The Royals with 3 home runs today. They've hit 48 home runs on the road this year as a team. This is their 31st road games. 48 homers in 31 road games. They've hit 29 home runs, less than 1 a game, in 33 home games. That's down the left field line. Up against the nose of the car. And heading home, Merrifield. The relay is too late. A double by Bonifacio and an RBI. Merrifield showing some great speed there, scoring all the way from first. It's 5-1 Kansas City.
Take a look at Merrifield burning it up. He sees that play right in front of him. And I don't know if Slater could have gotten the ball any quicker or hit his cutoff man any quicker. I mean, he does all that perfectly. Just a good read from Merrifield, just good speed. Never slowed down. Mike Jerschley, the third base coach, never hesitated with a green light either.
Third RBI for Bonifacio. And it is 5-1 Kansas City. This is a long throw. And out. Lorenzo Cain, a fast runner. I'm sure the Royals are going to look at the video review on that.
Well, if this stands, this is going to be one of the best plays of the homestand. And take a look at the end of it. He's out. And that is going to end the day for Cueto. What a play.
So Cueto hands the ball to Bochy. Osich is coming in with Hosmer. Then Moustakas coming up when it's time for a change. Think Speedy Oil Change at Auto Service. Your trusted oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
First 5 California Web Series is back. You can catch it on NBCSportsBayArea.com. Our very special guest, Nick Hundley. He is the father of 2 beautiful little girls, Allie and Haley, and we talk about how he balances being a baseball player with a family. It's not easy. Check it out, NBCSportsBayArea.com. First 5 California. Talk, read, sing. It changes everything. John and Mike.
All right, Amy, thank you. The Royals now leading 5-1 with a runner at third, 2 down, and Josh Osich, the left-hander, in to face the left-handed hitting Eric Hosmer.
17th game that Osich has come into, 1-1 with a 3.60 ERA. And one of the things we've really been excited about in watching Osich pitch lately is his addition to the changeup. Osich has really got reputation in this league for a sinker that can go 95 and above. Big time movement, big time velocity. He's got a curveball slider, and now he's come up with a changeup, and it really has been a game changer for him.
Bonifacio, the runner at third. Hosmer 1 for 3. He doubled his last time. And that fastball in there at 96. Back into the second deck.
96-mile-an-hour fastballs. Our fast pitch brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest Wi-Fi at home and on the go.
Two and one. This Kansas City team with 3 home runs against Cueto today. The Giants, for the season, in 31 previous home games, had allowed 19 home runs. 2-2. So rather extraordinary to see the Royals hit 3 home runs against Cueto, and they did it all within the span of the second and third innings of this game. 19 homers allowed by the Giants in 31 games here at home before today. Two and two. Crawford. And the inning is over. Well done by Josh Osich to get Hosmer to strand Bonifacio. Hunter Pence coming up.
NBC Sports Bay Area is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. By AAA. Get a free Giants welcome mat. Go to AAA.com/Giants or to a AAA branch for details. By Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Jack in the Box. Come try the new sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich. Limited time only. And by Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com.
What a city. The city by the bay, San Francisco. And we're in the ballpark by the bay. The Giants are trailing 5-1, and the big curveball high and tight to Hunter Pence, leading off for the Giants in the sixth. There's that view. Wow.
That's a good one.
Pence has singled to left and flied out deep to right. That drops in there neatly for a called strike. Well, he missed with the first one, so he tried it again.
I think if you have a guy who's got a good curveball, calling it 2 times in a row if he misses the first time is essential. Just to let him zero it in. Take 1 click off, add 2 clicks.
And Pence swung at that one, a much harder breaking ball, 84. And in mid-swing, it looked like he's, oh, what am I doing? 1-2.
You throw a pitch like that to a hitter and he breaks down mid-swing, you know you've done a good thing.
Off the inside with a fastball. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow. Dave Fleming is on assignment today. Dwayne Kuiper is over on the radio side, the KNBR booth. He'll be back for the 7th inning here on TV side. Now it's a full count, 3-2. Hamill has not walked anybody. He has hit a batter. Denard Span back in the 3rd inning. Giants have 7 hits against him, including 5 in the previous 2 innings, but just the 1 run. And he struck him out.
Well, don't forget the Warriors NBA Championship Parade is tomorrow at 9 a.m. You'll see it on NBC Sports Bay Area, streaming on NBC Sports app. Why watch it anywhere but on the authentic home of your 2017 World Champion Warriors, NBC Sports Bay Area, and streamed on NBC Sports app. Papa, Saint, Kalina, and Monty will anchor the coverage with Roz and the Warriors Outsiders on site with exclusive blue carpet interviews. Check it out.
Joe Paddock has hit 2 singles in this game. He's 2 for 2. What a year for the Warriors. To say the least. That is out number 2 as Alex Gordon gets to it, battling the sun. Warriors have won 2 of the last 3 NBA titles, and they were within 1 win of winning the middle year, which would have made it 3 in a row. And they had a 16-1 postseason record this year, and they also, including the playoff with their playoff victories, 254 wins in the last 3 seasons altogether, an NBA record. A lot of winning. Austin Slater, who's knocked in the Giants' only run today. There it is, the Oracle Arena across the bay, which we can see from here. Slater 1 for 2 in the game, hitting .367 now. High in the air to left. Here comes Gordon. And the inning is over. Dwayne Kuiper will be along to take you the rest of the way. We go to the 7th inning. Giants trail 5-1.
Toyota Game Summary is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. And through 6 full innings of play, Royals 5 runs on 10 hits, no errors. Giants 1 run on 7 hits. And Jason Hamill has been masterful through 6 innings. Johnny Cueto, a rare outing where he gave up 3 home runs. That is the difference in this game. That is your Toyota Game Summary. 5-1 Royals, top of the 7th inning. Once again, here's Dwayne Kuiper.
All right, thanks, Mike. And it is, let's see, Moustakas who waits, and there's a strike. Moustakas hit a home run, and here he rolls this one to Osich, who's going to tag Moustakas. 1 out.
Piece by piece, they have put together Josh Osich. The main concern when he sort of fell out of his rhythm and his mechanics was he couldn't control his sinker. Well, now he's showing not only a control of his sinker, mid to high 90s in velocity, but a curveball, slider, and a changeup as well. So he's become a 4-pitch guy. Once the mechanics of the fastball were ironed out, the mechanics of the curveball, slider, and changeup have followed in.
So here's Escobar, and the pitch, and Escobar takes down low. There's Mark Gardner. 5-1. Kansas City, and there's a call strike. Osich deals. Swinging and a miss. 1-2. Last time I said this, I was with Javi Lopez, and disaster struck immediately, but I wonder if Osich knows how good he can be.
Well, I mean, it's a great question.
Down low, 2-2.
And there's that changeup. What happens when you are a pitcher of any age, but especially a young pitcher? You still haven't proven that you belong here, that you can dominate. At times you do, but there's no consistency to it when you don't have good mechanics.
Fouled out of play.
And what happens is you think mechanically. You're out there and you're thinking about your motion, about, you know, starting your motion, have your hands here, kick your leg there, plant your step there, arm up in this slot here. What I don't think you have seen from Osich yet is his ability to compete, because for the most part he's been competing with himself and trying to get his mechanics right. And that's what Lopez is talking about, and that's what I feel, the same exact thing. If he ever gets his act together where he can just rely on his mechanics and he starts to compete against the guy in the box, look out. Because Osich is a very competitive guy.
Well, he's got good stuff. See? Broadcaster's jinx. But I clarified it ahead of time.
Yes, you did.
So Escobar with his 3rd hit. Here's Gordon. Alex Gordon. Gordon is 0 for 2 with a walk. And a quick toss to first.
You know, there's that yoke that hangs around the neck of guys who have great fastballs, and that is potential. If he ever reaches his potential, if he ever masters his mechanics and realizes what we all think he can be, you know, the guy could be something. He could be an all-star. And that's suffocating at times.
Yeah, it is. One ball and no strikes. The pitch. And a sharp foul.
Ooh, our ball dude down there Ryan Lawley. Ryan, you got to make a play, meat. He's a Rawlings guy, too.
Can't blame the glove, right?
No, not the glove's fault.
Swing and a foul back. It's 1-2.
Just an easy 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but that's half the story. The other part of the story is the movement. Across the board, every Giants catcher, whoever catches Josh Osich, says the same thing. This is the nastiest stuff on the team.
Ooh, just got a piece, and that's what you call spoiling a really good pitch. It remains at 1-2.
Great hitters all have that ability. The ability to fight off the fuzz.
Up the middle. Crawford will step on the bag, and they'll get one. And that's it. Only because Gordon runs pretty well.
Well, and I think the mound kind of killed this momentum and the speed of that ground ball. They had Crawford positioned to make this play. He was up the middle. But it hits the mound. Look at the high hop there. Crawford does well just to get that force. He had to come back across his momentum.
It's all about the quick feet. You don't have to be fast, but if you got quick feet, you can play in the infield. Here's Butera. It took Rick Robinson like a month to go from home to first, but his first couple of steps defensively were as quick as anybody's.
And what do you win? 16 Gold Gloves?
Something like that. In tight, 1 ball and no strikes. (5-1) Kansas City. Giants have 9 more outs in this game to do something. And this is launched to left for a base hit. So 2-out single for Sal's kid.
Sal Butera played 9 years in the big leagues. He's a good catcher too, good ball blocker, and you can say exactly the same thing about his son Drew.
Well, he gets Jason Hamill to the plate. Hamill, big tall hitter, struck out. A semi-hard line drive to Crawford at short, and then he rolled out to Crawford. And the pitch. Tapper to third for Nunez. Nunez will go to the bag, and that'll end the inning. 5-1 Royals. 5-1 Kansas City. RBI Baseball 2017 returns with fast-paced pick up and play MLB action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Get RBI Baseball today. Learn more at rbigame.com. Tomlinson is pinch hitting, and he checks his swing, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. So Hamill going after Tomlinson. Nobody out here in the 7th. Here's the pitch and a bunt, and he bunts it too hard, and just like that, Tomlinson's retired. That's the worst part about trying to bunt for a hit, because you think that you could have hit that pitch out of the park, and the only satisfaction when you try to bunt for a hit is if you actually get a hit. Otherwise, you start to second guess. What a stupid idea that was.
I'll never do that again.
Can't tell you how many times I walked or ran back to the dugout thinking, well, that's it. I'm done. I'm never going to do that again. But when you get a hit, it's like, well, that's the easiest hit I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Well, here's Span, who's 1 for 2.
I like the idea.
Well, we showed up at the ballpark yesterday, and at 4 o'clock there were 2 or 3 guys. That's all they did. Tried to practice their bunting for hits, and Tomlinson was one of those guys. And all the times I watched him bunt, I never saw him bunt one just like the one he did right there.
Well, it's something that he thought about probably coming to the ballpark today. If I pinch hit today, I'm going to try and bunt. Probably thought about it all day yesterday when he was practicing.
This has popped up and very much playable. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Butera, who made it look easy.
That is not an easy play. That's 2 plays that he's made well away from the home plate area. Up the third base line for 1, and here up the first base line.
Well, we found out something he can do better than his old man.
Yeah, catch pop-ups.
One-handed.
All right, ready? I got this one. Well, yeah, I think I do. Now watch it start to drift. Right in the sweet spot. It's a good set of hands right here.
And with that mitt, you have to catch it in the sweet spot. There's Nunez. Nunez hit a ball very hard to the right fielder Bonifacio. It was caught. So now you try to get something started with 2 outs. You get power behind you. Rolled foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. How about this? The Giants will get into Denver before the Rockies do.
Well, that's a good thing.
I think that should be a rule. I think the home team should always get in before the team they're playing next. Lifted into left center field. Is this going to fall? It is. Nunez on the move. Here's the throw to second, not in time. So you either keep the line moving or you knock one out of the park if you're Brandon Belt. That's my call.
Well, I like that call. And for Eduardo Nunez, he's got to feel like he's owed a couple of these. He had a lot of reach in this swing. Sometimes it's just a matter of where you put it. And this is right between Kane and Gordon, and that is a thang. I mean, you're just not thinking that's going to be a big league double when you're leaving the box.
No, you're not. Here's Belt. I don't know what's more frustrating for a hitter. 3 strikeouts or 3 pop-ups. The only thing worse would be 3 ground balls back to the pitcher.
Check swing ground balls back to the pitcher.
That would be worse.
With the bases loaded.
Or 3 line drives to the first baseman that were caught. But he's got 3 pop-ups. 1 to third, 1 to second, and 1 to Butera. There's the Royals bullpen getting loose.
Peter Moylan, the right-hander, and Mike Minor, the left-hander. And on the Giants side, Derek Law.
Takes high.
95 pitches will be his next pitch. And that really is an issue for a guy like Hamill. He's got 120 in him, but plenty of activity in the bullpen right now. So I don't know how long Ned Yost is going to let him go.
Swing. And a miss. It's 2-2. Belt, a little pop-up out of play. Buster Posey would like to hit, and if that happens, that means Belt would reach. There's Buster Posey.
Well, you're right. If that happens, you might see Peter Moylan down in the Royals bullpen. I just don't think that after 96 pitches, Hamill's getting close to the gas tank. He's still locating down around the knees with both the curveball and the sinker. When he's elevating by design. It's not out of fatigue.
And the 2-2, and it's outside. 3-2 to Belt. I'm a little surprised. No word on Hunter Strickland. Probably going to make Strickland get on the plane to Denver.
Yeah, I mean, this is very odd as Hunter Strickland awaits the word of his appeal on his suspension.
3-2 pitch. Here it is to Belt. And he walked him, and Buster Posey will hit. That is a Brandon Belt at bat. And here comes Ned Yost, and you're right. See if Ned Yost comes out and gets Jason Hamill. He's thrown 98 pitches. He looks to the bullpen, and now he points to the bullpen. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your trusted oil change tune-up and brake experts. We'll be back. Offer for the weekend of the Marlins series starting on July 8th and 9th. Starting at only $99, you receive 4 game tickets and 4 free round trip BART tickets to get you to and from the ballpark. AT&T Park is Bartable. sfgiants.com/BART. Use the code BART to purchase. Did you get all that?
Yeah, I was absolutely paying attention.
So there's Peter Moylan.
Take a look at what he has done in 30 games. Had a little rough time with his ERA, but his numbers are pretty good. Almost a strikeout an inning.
Sidewinder, and Buster Posey waves at that Sergio Romo pitch, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
to get lots of sink. Pretty good velocity from the side from Moylan too.
Oh, it hits Moylan right in the chest. He's going to pick it up and throw, and that is going to end the inning. I'm sure it hit him in the right spot. It's going to sting, especially when somebody wraps you right there where it hit you.
Right, first of 4 tomorrow at 5:30. You'll see the game 1 on NBC Bay Area on the Giants Television Network. Friday at 5:30 on NBC Sports Bay Area with an hour-long Giants pregame live at 4:30. For up-to-the-minute Giants news, log on to NBCSportsBayArea.com for insider Alex Pavlovich. 5-1 Royals. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change tune-up at Smog Experts. This is Derek Law making appearance number 29.
So Merrifield, 2 for 4. Stokes this one into center field. Span on the move. He's not going to get it. It bounces off the bottom of the wall. And Whit Merrifield has his 3rd hit. All right, let's check in with Amy G.
All right, this was not the time I wanted to do this, but we're going to do it. We're going to promote our next GMAC because it's about Derek Law. He spent the day at the San Francisco Creamery, ironically, in Walnut Creek, taking on the kitchen sink challenge. Guys, if you don't know what that is, it is 2 gallons of ice cream to be eaten 30 minutes or less. I'm not going to tell you if he did it or not. You got to watch the show, but I will tell you it was gross. Really gross. You got to check it out Saturday, June 17th, right after Giants post-game live. Don't hold that hit against me, guys.
Amy, did you try some? Pitches inside to Boniface. Did you try some?
No way.
No, I didn't say did you eat the whole thing. Did you try some?
No, I wasn't allowed to help him. He was on his own.
And when did you do this?
We did it last week. We did it last week.
All right. All right. Well, it sure does look like it's interesting. Buster Posey's going to make the basket catch.
Yeah, but Amy, you were there at the ice cream store. You mean to tell me you didn't have any ice cream at all? Not even a taste, not even an ice cream cone, not even a lick?
I didn't have any ice cream at all, you guys. I was so disciplined. Actually, watching Derek eat it all made you not want to eat ice cream ever again. I know that doesn't seem possible for you too, but it might be.
This is the way I'm looking at it. You're like, he's eating and you're doing what? Jumping jacks and yoga?
Yeah,
or what?
I was doing a plank. I just held a plank the whole time.
You are so disciplined. I'm going to barf. Runner goes. Posey's throw to third is not in time. And it'll be stolen base number 7.
Well, right about now, you're saying, who is this guy, Whit Merrifield? I mean, he's had a really nice series. 3 hits today. He gets a stolen base, and that's a big steal because now it brings the infield in. You can see the jump he has. I mean, if you're gonna expect your catcher to throw out a runner, you have to make that runner stop. And Derek Law just ignored Merrifield, and he paid a price at 90 feet.
He's got 5 hits in this 2-game series. And the pitch is down low.
You cannot take one pitch off with a runner. You have to check that runner every time. You have to vary your times from which you release. You can't let that runner get a rhythm on you or a read on you. I mean, the difference between a guy at second base and 1 out is night and day from a guy at third base and 1 out.
Well, he's a pitch away from having to go after Hosmer. Lined in the left, and Slater is going to come in, and it's off the bottom of his glove. And coming in to score is Merrifield, and it's now 6-1. It'll be a single and an RBI. Did you get the feeling that Kane didn't want Hosmer to have that RBI?
Yeah, he was grinding. And right off the end of the bat. And you could hear him singing the Get Down song as he's going down the first baseline. Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down. Yeah. Just outside the thumb.
Slater got there. Here's Hosmer. And this is rolled in the right field, a base hit. Kane's going to go. And now the ball is going to squirt away. And Law did what he's supposed to do, and that's why you do it. So Law is now in deeper trouble.
Well, and Hunter Pence had to come a long way. They were playing him deep in the hole, and he's figuring, down with a 5-1 lead here, I've got to try and, or a 6-1 game, I've got to try and make a play. And Derek Law, now you realize I got to get over. And as you see this play start to unfold, you got to get back far enough so if it gets past him, you can put yourself in position. And he saves himself a run right there.
Giants will play the infield in. And Moustakas got a pitch up, and it's no balls and 1 strike. So at third is Kane. At second is Hosmer. Hosmer, by the way, now has 2 hits in the game. Down low. On the appeal, no swing. So right now, Law trying to get him and the Giants into the dugout. Three and one.
Yeah, he's got an open base here, and he's got a little bit of a dibble going on here, as he should. Got a hot hitter. He's already hit a home run in this game.
Out of play, 3-2. Here's another guy that says, I want the RBIs. This is the Steve Garvey theory.
Yeah, he's swinging.
Steve Garvey, I don't think you could walk him with a guy on third.
You could. The guy in scoring position, you couldn't walk Steve Garvey if you tried. If you rolled it up there. If you dropped the rosin bag, he's swinging at it.
Effectively, by the way. Hit out into center field for Span. This should be deep enough for Kane. Kane's going to tag. The throw is going to go to third. And getting into third is Hosmer. Coming in to score is Kane. So that's 2 runs now charged to Derek Law. And it's 7-1.
Yeah, nice at bat.
I have a feeling that Moustakas was going to swing on that 3-2 pitch no matter what. Of course, you know the Giants are headed to Denver for a 4-game series. The Royals are headed to Anaheim for a 4-game series. Bouncing ball up the middle. Crawford behind the bag. Crawford's throw, and that'll end the inning. So 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 left. It'll be Crawford to lead things off. For Esurance Giants post-game live, you're going to get highlights, reaction, analysis, and it's for a full hour right after the game. When it's time for a change, as we look at a 7-1 lead for the Royals, when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your trusted oil change tune-up and brake experts.
So the left-hander Mike Minor, one of 4 left-handers the Royals have in their bullpen, coming out 3-1 on the year, having a solid season, 33 strikeouts in 32 innings. You can see a good fastball, mid to high 90s, curveball, slider, changeup. He's got 4 pitches he can get you with.
So Crawford steps up. He's 1 for 3. Madison Bumgarner is going to. Thought I heard Bruce Bochy say he may. Oh no, I heard Dave Righetti this morning on with Murph and Mac that he may face some hitters in Denver.
Yeah, one of the hitters could be Jared Parker.
So Crawford takes the walk.
Jen and I were talking about that. How about Jared Parker? Jared Parker finally getting back to where he can take live at bats, and he gets to take a bunch of them and assimilate a game against Madison Bumgarner.
Hey, you know what? Maybe he ought to request that you and I throw to him.
Well, I know I would if I was him.
Here's Hunter Pence. Hunter takes a pretty good fastball from Minor for a called strike, and it's 0-1.
Problem with a substantial injury that takes you out beyond the normal 10-day disabled this time. And in Parker's case, a broken clavicle, 6-weeker. For Madison Bumgarner, a shoulder separation amongst other injuries. And we forecast it's going to be at least a couple months. When you start to get it going again, you've got to go back and basically have a mini spring training. And you're always going to hurry it. You're never going to be completely as ready as you are when you break out of the normal spring training, starting a season in April. It's just hard to do.
0-2 to Pence. The Royals last night had 15 hits. And what do they have today? 15 hits as Pence spins back out of the way. It's about as much of a stank eye as you're going to see out of Hunter Pence.
If he drops one on you, it doesn't last long, but this little sniffer right up around the armpit at 94. That's some stank eye from Hunter Pence.
So what do you throw after that?
Curveball in the dirt.
Away.
Well, I think a great pitch is to come right back in with hard stuff on the hands. Because the guy's ticked off, obviously, and he wants to hurt you. He's looking fastball. Throw him one above the hands.
And staying alive by digging that one out. It stays at 2-2.
Minor 2 times now has gone back down to the dirt with breaking ball.
Pence rolls it to third. Moustakas will get the out there, and then late. So Pence will reach on the fielder's choice. Here's Joe Panik. Had a nice day, a couple of singles. Lefty against lefty, and this is just tapped right out in front of home plate. And Pence, who got such a good jump, forced Butera to get the out at first.
But if you're Butera, you know you have time to get the out at first. So he comes out from behind the plate and he's thinking lead bag, which is what you're supposed to do. Get your footwork to allow yourself a chance. Then if it plays there, you take it. If it's not, you take the sure out. And that's what he did.
So here's Slater. Slater's 1 for 3. He's got the RBI in the game for the Giants with a base hit into right center field. And he has his feet moved. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Post game after the game last night, I said we would come up with an over and under number for number of hits for Slater in Denver in the 4-game series. I'm going 7.
I like that call. I think I may take the over on that.
Okay. There you go. What, bag of Cheetos? What are we?
Yeah, Cheetos, the usual.
2 balls and no strikes. Swinging a fly ball to left. It got in on him just a little bit. And that'll end the inning. By the way, that's gone in Denver. So maybe we'll up that number. Nope, it's 7. 7-1 Royals. 9th inning coming up. Championship Parade tomorrow at 9 a.m. on NBC Sports Bay Area and streaming on NBC Sports app. You can watch it anywhere but on the authentic home of your 2017 World Champion Warriors. NBC Sports Bay Area and streamed on NBC Sports app. We'll be watching from Denver. Strickland to face Alex Gordon, 7-1. Kansas City. And the pitch. And it's outside for a ball. Strickland pitched yesterday. Pitched 1 inning, allowed a hit, a walk, had a strikeout. And we were correct in assuming yesterday that he was pitching only because of what lies ahead for him, which is a suspension. So obviously it's the same reason he's into the game today, as there's a strike at the knees.
And we're going to assume that at the end of this game we're going to hear what the fate will be with Hunter Strickland. The hope is the 6 days that he has been given is going to be shortened.
I just have a feeling that that's just not going to happen.
Well, I hope you're wrong.
And I really want to be wrong, as that pitch is low. 2 balls and a strike. So Strickland rubbing up the baseball. He started out in his outing yesterday by getting in trouble with the first hitter. First hitter doubled. But he got out of the mess. The pitch. Popped up. It's going to be Joe Panic. One out. Joe hung in there with that one. That was the one at Candlestick where every infielder had to get involved because of the sun field.
Well, yeah, and as a pitcher standing on the mound, you're directing traffic, and as you're directing traffic, you could get hit on the top of the head by the pop-up.
God, I love that place. It was just so much fun. It made the game so much easier.
It was unique.
Butera's 1 for 4. It's still, as this is off the end of the bat, and Span's going to have this one fall in front of him. So Butera, a little doink. It does tug at my heart, though, when you go down 101 and nothing's there.
Yeah, that's so odd. I still don't understand that, but hey, it had its time.
We just wanted it to just stay there, just be there.
Well, the foghorn is still there.
Here's Brandon Moss pinch hitting.
And the sign that tells you that it was 6.2 miles away is still here. So gone but not forgotten. That's what I'm saying.
Overshift is on for Brandon Moss. And a call strike.
But having been raised in Wrigley Field, and when you're raised in Wrigley Field, you're always worried about the winds, especially if you're a pitcher. That's the first thing you look at. The elements that day. What elements do you have to deal with? And I thought that there would never be a ballpark that would have more elements than Wrigley Field. Oh, was I mistaken? Candlestick had personality beyond personality.
You got to play in 2 for your home fields, 2 of the windiest parks in the major leagues, and I got to play in 2 of the biggest dumps in the major leagues.
Okay.
Does that sound like a complaint?
No,
it's just a statement.
You loved Cleveland, and you loved Candlestick.
And I loved Municipal Stadium, especially when there was 4,500 people there.
Yeah, big ballpark can eat up 4,500 people.
Swing, ain't gonna miss. So Moss out.
Take a look at the power behind the velocity. You can see the drive he gets off his back leg. A perfect catapult. At 6'4", 250 pounds, I mean, he's got a lot of quickness with those hips and drive with that lower body. Easy to see where his power comes from.
Merrifield has 3 hits. He started out his hit barrage with a bunt single in the 3rd. Bonifacio then homered. On the ground to 3rd. Nunez will go the short way, and that'll end the inning. Giants are coming up. They need a boatload of runs to tie and even more to win. And the Royals are leading 7-1. And there's Kelvin Herrera as he will try to close out the ninth.
Herrera, the closer, simply needs a work, an inning of work. So this is his 27th game coming in. Take a look at the numbers: 28 strikeouts against 5 walks. Gives you an idea what type of stuff he has. You're going to see a mid to high 90s fastball that he will 2-seam and 4-seam. He's also got a cutter and a changeup. And he is nasty, folks.
Giants faced the Royals in that World Series in 2014. They had 3 guys that pitched, one the 7th, one the 8th, and one the 9th.
The 3-headed monster, and they were very good.
And now they're all closers.
Well, they kind of were closers then. Just that, you know, they had different assignments, 7th, 8th, and 9th, but they all were guys that could handle the responsibility of facing lefties and righties, closing out an inning.
Hill rolls it foul.
Really put a lot of pressure on you when we played the Royals, because you knew if you were behind going into the 7th, it was going to be tough.
Yep. Hill out of play. 0-2. Span to follow. Rolls this one to short. And Escobar throws high and wide, and Hill is safe. Hill had to adjust when he went down the bag or went down the line. So that should be an error as Hill hustling all the way.
Well, and the Royals were waiting to see if, after the error was made, you can see he'll come across the bag. Now he's got to veer his path to steer clear of the umpire. And what the Royals were saying was that there was intent to go to second base. If there's intent to go to second base in the eye of the umpire, then they very easily could have come over and tagged him out. But that was not the case.
So here's Span.
If he even looks left right there, he's out.
You're exactly right. There's a fastball for a strike.
It's a nice, easy 99.
Swing. You're going to miss. Nothing in 2.
Another easy 99. I mean, that's the thing about Herrera. You look at him and you see him register 98, 99, 100. And it doesn't look like he's maxing out with his motion.
Yeah, nice and easy. Out of play.
We have a winner. Hey, don't leave her hanging. There you go.
There. 0-2 to Span. Span does have a hit. He's 1 for 3 in this game. Takes low. Nunez on deck. Pitch to Span, and Span takes high. So Herrera, who jumped out in front 0-2, now 2-2. Span holding that left hand up. When he's ready, he puts it down. Line drive, base hit. It all started with an error, and then the Giants kept the line moving. And what a happy flight to Denver.
For 31 minutes. Wouldn't it be something, though? I mean, talk about a game that could absolutely ignite. To be able to come back down 6 runs in the 9th inning against a guy like Herrera. Well, that would be something.
Nunez dumped a double in the left center field in the 7th. That saved his day. He's 1 for 4. He pops this one up, and it's going to be out of play. One hit will save your day. Your average isn't going to move around too much. 2 hits. That's good. 3 hits, it's going to go up. If you take an 0 for 4, 0 for 5, you're going to probably lose maybe 2 or 3 or 4 points on your average. In the minor leagues, you could figure out your average while you were running down to first.
So many guys did that.
I mean, I was horrible at math. And Butera couldn't find it. And the king of the pop-ups just couldn't see that one.
Well,
or what you would do in the minor leagues is you would figure out all the scenarios before the game, before you went to the park. If I go 1 for 4, this is what I'll be: 2 for 4, 2 for 3, 2 for 5. You know, he even got to the point where if you go 4 for 4,
Hey.
But minor leagues, man, it's all about the numbers.
Yeah, you give up a run, you know what your ERA is. Up to the moment.
Now, most scoreboards, even in the minor leagues, have the averages up. High pop-up down the right field line. Bonifacio will give chase, and that'll sail about 20 rows into the seats.
100-mile-an-hour fastball. With good location. Hey, he brought his glove. That'll get you a hug. Happy wife, happy life.
Nunez foul. Pulls this one on the ground.
Well, Patrick O'Rourke making a play. Just wait till it stops rolling and pick it up. All right, let's take a look at his technique. All right, that glove is,
you know what,
not working.
I hope he's got a cup on. 0-2.
I tell you, he's had a tough day. We need to get him a new glove.
And another pop-up just to our right. Right close into the booth where Kevin Skilling and his people are sitting. Kevin in charge of the scoreboard. Right in there. There's Kevin, the back of Kevin's head. On the ground and a base hit. And here comes Hill. And a nice at bat from Nunez. How about that?
Wouldn't it be something? So the line keeps moving. Noise gets a little louder in the Giants dugout. Royals start thinking about getting somebody else up. Pitching coach Dave Elan coming out to try and slow things down a bit for Herrera. And right on cue, up out of the dugout, Joaquim Soria. Gonna go down and start throwing.
Here's Belt. Belt reached in the 7th by way of a walk. Prior to that, he had popped out 3 times. Belt shoots it up the middle. On the backhand is Merrifield, and they turn it. That's a nice play. Belt can't believe it.
That's
so
one
here's
thing.
Buster Posey.
It's the one thing you never get used to. I mean, you get reminded of it that it's the big leagues every day, but you never get used to somebody taking away a knock and an RBI, trying to keep the line moving, put on a good swing, and guess what? Double play. Hang with them. Low backhander, nice feed. And Escobar finishes it off.
And Buster takes a pitch just a bit high.
Look out.
Almost hit him. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
I want to get drilled with 97, 98 if you can help it.
Not before you get on a plane. You bruise a little bit more before you get on a plane. Buster likes these kind of guys. There's a strike. Who throw hard. Two and 1. Line drive, foul.
Patrick O'Rourke going to go back and reload. All right, he's ready.
And that's the ball game. So, disappointing series against Kansas City. The Giants came in hoping that they would at least win one game in these two, but Royals really put on an exhibition hitting wise. They pounded out 15 hits yesterday and 16 today, and they also pitched well. So that's a bad combination.
Well, it is a bad combination. So now the Giants will lick their wounds and get on a plane and head to Denver, where that is the place that offenses go to get well, and hopefully they can do that very thing.
They'll also have to get some outs and play a Denver team that is very confident right now. So anyway, here it is, the final score here at AT&T Park. It's the Royals 7 and the Giants 2. Stay tuned. Esurance Giants postgame live starts right now.